Yeah, and another leader that we've been able to see on the sidelines is Caitlin Clark. Um,
Yeah.
she's such a competitive player. And, obviously her season ended due to injury, but you can clearly see on the sidelines that she wants to play. She wants to be on the court. What has it been like watching her handle being sidelined and like working through the recovery part this season?
Well, look, I continue to be impressed with her work ethic. I mean, she is somebody who's in the gym all the time. She works incredibly hard. She's a perfectionist. She doesn't take plays off, and for a player like her, I can imagine it's very frustrating to be in a situation where you're not on the floor.
Caitlin Clark's groin injury might be the biggest lie the WNBA has ever seen. Not the injury itself, that's real, but the idea that it sidelined her is a complete fantasy. In a stunning new interview, her coach Stephanie White just revealed what's truly been happening behind the scenes. And it's not just rehab, it's a calculated transformation that should terrify every team in the league.
Talking about how Caitlin Clark has handled being sidelined. And I do think that, again, this is an important thing. It is important to know how players are. Players do hold being sidelined. How players just are going to react to different situations. Because I do think Caitlin Clark is a player that is important and a player that's unbelievably important to this Fever team, even off the floor. Because let's be real, none of this happens without Caitlin. There's no Steph White if Caitlin Clark isn't there. There's no, there's absolutely no, Steph White. There's no Kelsey Mitchell coming back. There's no Gamebridge filling out arenas. None of this happens without Caitlin Clark.
When news first broke that Clark would be out, the internet's darkest corners celebrated. The haters and critics who've been screaming all season finally thought they had their proof. They claimed the Fever would magically become more balanced, that the offense would flow better, and that her absence would expose her as nothing more than a media-hyped volume shooter. They were waiting for the team to fall apart, just to say, "I told you so."
Where you're not on the floor. She loves to compete. She loves to play. She loves this team. She loves her teammates. And it's been a roller coaster. I mean, as someone who's had multiple injuries, like I can say that it's hard being away from the team, and it's hard not doing what you love to do. But what I've absolutely been so proud of her for is her continuing to pour into her teammates. I mean, she is the number one cheerleader on the sideline. She continues to be engaged in everything that we do, talking to her teammates, communicating what she sees to them, communicating what she sees to us. Being a cheerleader for them, talking in huddles. It sucks when you're not able to play, but you also can gain a different perspective.
But then Stephanie White dropped a bombshell that shattered their entire narrative. On a podcast that was supposed to be a standard team update, White didn't just defend her injured star, she exposed her secret role. She revealed that Caitlin Clark hasn't been resting at all. Instead, she's been operating as a secret weapon, fundamentally changing the team from the sidelines.
See it a little bit more from a coach's perspective, from a coach's point of view. I don't doubt that Caitlin Clark is always hungry, but you are hungrier when you're not able to participate. And I think this season, has she's regained a new perspective, a different perspective. We have been able to watch her navigate that in the classy, mature way that she does everything else. And I have just continued to be impressed by how she pours into and leads this team.
White laid it out in shocking detail. She said Clark has essentially become an extension of the coaching staff. Forget being the number one cheerleader, this goes way deeper. Clark is reportedly the most vocal player on the bench, calling out defensive assignments, pointing out mismatches to her teammates, and pulling them aside during timeouts to give them reads she's seeing from her new vantage point. This revelation lands right in the middle of a locker room that's been rumored to have its tensions. We've all heard the whispers about veterans rolling their eyes at the rookie who gets all the attention, but White's comments suggest something incredible is happening. Clark is refusing to be pushed aside, and her relentless energy is forcing everyone to listen. Her sideline work is reportedly earning her a different kind of respect, one that goes beyond her insane scoring ability. When a player with her profile could easily disconnect and focus on herself, she's doing the opposite. She's pouring every ounce of her competitive fire into making her teammates better, proving her value is about more than just putting a ball through a hoop. And that kind of leadership is impossible to ignore. Stephanie White flat out called Clark a culture driver, a term that completely redefines her role. This isn't just about points per game anymore. It's about being the first one in the gym and the last one to leave. even when injured. It's about her obsessive film study, her refusal to take shortcuts, and her perfectionist streak that pushes everyone around her. White's comments confirm that Clark's fingerprints are all over the team's work ethic, setting a new professional standard for a franchise that desperately needed one. And let's be honest about the unspoken truth Stephanie White knows all too well. The sold-out arenas, the record-breaking TV ratings, the national media coverage. It's called the Clark effect. For a reason. Before she arrived, you could hear a pin drop in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Now it's the hottest ticket in town. White's praise wasn't just about a player, it was about protecting the franchise's entire foundation. This brings us to the cold, hard economic reality. Stephanie White's public praise of Clark is also a brilliant business move. The Indiana Fever and arguably the entire WNBA are financially dependent on Caitlin Clark right now. Her presence guarantees millions in revenue from tickets, merchandise, and TV deals. By reinforcing her value even while injured, White ensures that the hype train never slows down. She's not just coaching a player, she's protecting the league's biggest asset. White's honesty is a stark contrast to what we see from so many other coaches, who often deflect and talk about their system. She didn't shy away from it. She put it front and center. Caitlin Clark is the engine of this revolution, whether she's in sneakers or street clothes. This wasn't coach speak, it was a cold, hard statement of fact that felt refreshingly raw in a league full of cliches. Of course, the internet immediately started trying to twist her words. The usual critics spouted their predictable lines, she's just saying that to protect her brand, or it's just PR. They refused to believe that a 22-year-old could possess this level of maturity and leadership because it completely destroys their narrative that she's an entitled media creation. So here's a sarcastic thank you to all the haters. You wanted her off the court so badly, and now you've gotten your wish. But in doing so, you've accidentally helped create something far more dangerous. You've given a basketball prodigy a masterclass in strategy, and the rest of the league is about to pay the price for it. White's interview single-handedly deconstructed the overrated myth piece by piece. The haters claimed she was just a shooter. White revealed she's a tactical genius. They claimed she couldn't lead a team. White described her as the team's emotional and strategic core. They said she was all hype. White confirmed her work ethic is second to none. It was a methodical dismantling of every lazy narrative that has followed Clark into the league. But what those critics fail to grasp is the most terrifying part of this entire situation. By being forced to sit and watch, Clark is seeing the game in a completely new way. She's absorbing defensive schemes, learning player tendencies, and developing a coach's perspective. When she returns, she won't just be an elite scorer, she'll be a strategic mastermind. Stephanie White also made it clear that this time away has only made Clark hungrier. Imagine the frustration of watching your team, knowing you could be out there making a difference. White confirmed Clark is channeling all of that intensity, not into sulking, but into preparation for a comeback that is going to be nothing short of nuclear. The fire that drives her is now being compressed, ready to explode the moment she steps back on the floor. This completely debunks the idea that she is just a product of hype. The cameras aren't in the gym with her at 6 a.m. or in the film room late at night. White's interview pulled back the curtain, confirming that Clark's work ethic is even more ferocious when no one is watching. She isn't just rehabbing, she's reloading with a vengeance. Injuries are as much a mental battle as they are a physical one. For many young stars, a major injury can lead to bitterness and isolation. It's a lonely road that can break even the strongest players. But according to White, Clark has flipped the script, turning a moment of vulnerability into a display of immense strength and resolve that is shaping the team from the inside out. Perhaps the most stunning detail White let slip was that Clark has been giving direct tactical feedback to the coaching staff during games. Let that sink in. A second-year player is seeing things in real time that the coaches are implementing. That's not just leadership, that's a level of basketball intelligence that is almost unheard of and provides insane value. This sideline leadership has a powerful ripple effect. When your superstar is on the bench, injured, and still coaching with more intensity than anyone else, it leaves no room for excuses. It forces every other player on that roster to elevate their game. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, every single one of them sees that standard and knows they have to meet it. It fosters a culture of accountability that you simply can't manufacture. These comments from White also put a definitive end to any speculation about a coach-player rift. You don't praise a player with that level of detail and passion if there's tension. This was a public declaration of trust and mutual respect, laying the foundation for what they plan to build in Indiana for years to come. It was a sign of a powerful alliance. As expected, the interview split the internet in two. One side saw it as a beautiful testament to Clark's character and leadership. The other side screamed that it was all a coordinated PR stunt designed to protect their golden goose. But the truth is, results don't care about opinions, and Clark's impact on and off the court is undeniable. In a way, White's words were also a quiet but powerful message to the rest of the league. To all the critics and overly aggressive veterans who tried to paint Clark as soft or unprepared for the pro level, her coach just went on the record to describe her as one of the toughest and smartest players she's ever been around. It was a subtle shot fired without ever raising her voice. So get ready for the coming storm. The Caitlin Clark, who returns from this injury, won't be the same one who left. She'll be healthier, yes, but she'll also be smarter, more patient, and armed with an arsenal of knowledge she could only gain from the sideline. She's returning with a PhD in dissecting defenses, ready to wage. The irony here is almost poetic. The very physicality from opponents, the constant cheap shots and body checks that likely contributed to her injury, is the exact thing that has unlocked this new level of her game. Her critics tried to break her, but they only ended up making her stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. Imagine being one of those veterans who spent weeks talking tough and delivering cheap shots. Now you have to face a player who not only remembers every single thing you did, but who also spent her time off studying your every move, every weakness, and every tendency. She's not just going to outplay you, she's going to outthink you. That's a whole new kind of nightmare. What made White's delivery so brilliant was its authenticity. She wasn't overly emotional or dramatic. She spoke about Clark's contributions with a calm, matter-of-fact respect. It didn't sound like a coach defending her player. It sounded like a coach in awe of her player, acknowledging a force of nature she is privileged to guide. And finally, White's message was also for her own locker room. By publicly anointing Clark as a sideline leader, she was sending a clear signal: injured or not, this is Caitlin's team. She sets the standard, she drives the culture, and the future of the franchise runs through her. It was a subtle way of maintaining order and reinforcing the hierarchy. This period won't be remembered as the time Caitlin Clark was injured. It will be seen as the moment she evolved from a superstar scorer into a true floor general and franchise leader. It's the kind of chapter you find in the stories of legends like Jordan, Brady, and Kobe, where adversity forged greatness and laid the groundwork for a dynasty. Beyond championships, this transformation is about building an unbreakable legacy. White's comments confirm that Clark's impact will be measured in more than just rings. It will be about how she elevated an entire franchise, changed the economic landscape of the WNBA, and inspired millions with her resilience. This injury is becoming a pivotal chapter in a story that will be told for generations. In the end, Stephanie White didn't just give an interview, she rewrote the entire narrative. She confirmed that Caitlin Clark's value isn't just measured in points or assists, but in an influence that is so powerful it can lead the team even when she can't take a single step on the court. That's not just a star player, that's a phenomenon. So has this revelation changed your mind about her true impact on the game? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more untold stories.